English in the language policy. Now, what is the status of English as within the linguistic hierarchy constructed by the language policy? English for Pakistan is the official language of the government of Pakistan. Its website is in English, and all the important higher functioning of the government are in English. Now, from early on, it was stated very clearly in the Article 251 in the Constitution of 1973 that English will be there only for a specific time, and it was being used as an official language because of pragmatic reasons and because lots of documents were already in English, and it was not possible to sort of prepare Urdu language in terms of its terminology, in terms of the literature. It had at that time to sort of transfer all the functions of English language to Urdu language. So it was decided that English language will be used for 15 years, and then on, Urdu will take on the functions of English language. After the 15 years had elapsed, there was again a time period given of 15 years, and it never actually happened. So what was planned as an ad hoc arrangement for English has more or less still been there. So English retains its status as the language of power, being the official language of the government of Pakistan. So an important, interesting thing about English, if we compare it to Urdu, is that although Urdu is the national language, the most important functions of the government, of the higher judiciary, of the topmost jobs, there the requirement is English. So it is interesting to see how it came to be. So in the colonial era, please remember when the British first came to India, they made sure that their officers who were being posted in different areas would pass an exam of indigenous languages. So they wanted their officers to learn the what they call Oriental languages, so that they are able to better understand the people there. However, in the late 1750s, what happened was that this attitude was changed to this attitude of what is called of Anglicism, in which they now wanted the indigenous population to sort of learn their language instead of they themselves learning the indigenous languages. Now the British had been there for quite some time, and every time they were asking the officers from England to come over and take on different posts. But in order to connect with the population, they needed some more officers for the lower cadre, which could assist the British to govern. So what they did was they opened up English medium schools. These schools were missionary, and the point of these schools was to prepare a local elite that could help the people, that could help the colonizers to govern the state. But please remember that this small faction of schools was only sort of limited to few. So the point was never to give English as a mass on a mass scale, but it was only there to be reserved for the local elite only. So only few selective classes were allowed to be there. So while it was very selective at that time, interestingly, after the independence of Pakistan also, English has been rationed out as per class. So, if you belong to a higher social class, you have access to those English medium schools that teach English very well. If you don't belong to that class, then your English language will, although they might offer English language learning, it might not be as good in teaching and learning as the higher schools are. So that is why it is argued by several, like Dr. Mansoor and Dr. Rahman and myself also, that English in Pakistan is rationed as in relation to class. And what this leads to is these hegemonic ideas about the superiority of English language, as if the superiority of English language is as stated as common sense. So when you talk to the young people, they say obviously, because those who know English are better than others. So this hegemonic ideas, as if there's something special about the language itself that has come from this kind of background in which English language education has been restricted to somehow, I mean, not openly, but implicitly restricted to certain classes. In any case, English stays on as a language of prestige and power. Very few people know it, but what everyone knows is the importance of English language as a means of upward social mobility. Now, I am not saying over here that this is a true assumption, because you might come across several businesses, several small businesses in which they don't need to be proficient in English language. But in any case, this is the main ideology that is at work. Now, interestingly, this ideology and this status given to English also serves to marginalize a large number of population that does not even have access to education, and as such to Urdu also.